Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to talk about metaphorical shoes. There's actually 3 subcategories of the metaphorical section. Now, there are the common sayings that we are most used to, and some people won't be familiar with all of them, obviously, but you'll often find that they are popular in certain cultures and not so in others. Then you've got the next lot, which are like famous sayings, but they can relate to your life. And then the third one is Vickyisms. These are the ones that I've come up with to help us identify specifically what shoe types are when we start seeing them, not just on ourselves, but on others. So we can immediately, I'd like to get us all to a place where immediately we can go, oh, I've clocked this, and this about that person, or I've started questioning this about myself. I notice, oh, I always have a leaning towards this type. I often say this kind of saying. I often lead my life in this direction when actually I want to be going in this direction or this direction, wearing these kind of shoes. So it's all about, you know, your shoes, your path, and doing it your way. So today the metaphorical stuff that I'm going to be talking about is for the beginning is the typical sayings. So I'm just going to give you some examples. There are going to be more in my book once I've managed to complete it, and I've found a delightful publisher who would actually like to publish this book. So if you happen to know anyone who might be able to oblige, please send them my way. I would be most grateful. Now, let's get straight into it. Okay, so metaphorical sayings is obviously that there's some kind of learning bent to it, that we can take away some form of wisdom with it as well. So some of the sayings would be, a classic would be, oh, you're such a goody two shoes, you know. And if you've been following me up until now, you will have done the Enneagram steps, and this is what I was saying, these shoes fit so beautifully into the Enneagram types. The personality type 2 is the Enneagram. I like to be like, I need to be needed, and they're often the goody two shoes. There's also 5s who like to conform and do things in order to be accepted. So that's not uncommon for them to be goody two shoes as well, and doing things the right way with a set structure. So now we've learned that, and if you haven't followed me up until then, go back to the start and do a bit of a catch up, because it is really worthwhile. You've got to get the foundation stuff in place, and I'm just going to be building on this as we go, so that you can take away little bite-sized chunks each time and go, oh, you know, that it's only 10 to 15 minutes. I've decided to expand it just a little bit more to try and get a bit more information. I was getting feedback that you'd like to have a little bit more, and just so that you are aware as well, there is going to be more in the book once it's actually released. So if you actually want to do more deep dives, and it will be going onto the website once it's all completed, so that you can get some information there as well. Right, so back to the shoes. Okay, so goody two shoes is, you know, oh, such a goody two shoes. Like it's a bit self-explanatory, to be honest. It's like, you know, doing doing a good thing, but in a way that the way that it's said is quite derogatory. It's like, oh, you know, you're too much of it. You know, you sort of need to let go a bit and relax and break the norm just a little bit. Don't be such a goody two. Do step outside of the box. You know, don't always have to follow the rules. So that would be a perfect example of that. Another one would be, you've got really big shoes to fill. A common one that's used quite often in, you know, leadership positions, when a well-known leader leaves and is well respected, and somebody else has to come in, and they say, oh, you know, I've got really big shoes to fill. It's a compliment to the person going out that they've done a great job, and that you hope that you can match, and it's going to be a challenge to actually better their performance. So it is a compliment to the person who's going out, and a challenge obviously for the person who's stepping into the new shoes. So that's a good idea. And then there's you know, if you think about something that's a bit more sort of perhaps on a negative side, it would be, you know, I left him shaking in his boots. So this is when obviously that they were so terrified by whatever it is that happened that they were literally shaking. So the adrenaline was going, the anxiety, the flight responses kicked in, And it's that whole, I was literally shaking in my boots, I got such a fright, or you know, you were confronted by something that was a near-death experience, or a person who just lost his cool or her cool, and you know, you were a bit rattled by it. So those are just some examples of metaphorical sayings that we have related to shoes, right? So the other ones, that the next category is actually sayings that famous people have actually said, or you know, people have come up with, that are fun and funky, and quite often by shoe salespeople, so that you'll buy more. Dare I say, you know, the marketing slant kicks in, you know, we all know about that. So you know, one would be, oh, and I love this one, good shoes will take you good places. So this is a whole idea here, is that if you've got the best shoes for you, then obviously you're going to, you know, be proud to wear them. These are, they suit me, they suit my personality, I'm comfortable in them, I don't really care if you don't like them, it's unique to me, I might have a bit of bling or something different on it that speaks to my personality, and being comfortable in wearing them, going in the direction I choose. And if somebody likes it, then fantastic, and if they don't, then you know, so be it. And having the confidence to wear those shoes. So love that saying. Can't remember who it was. There was another one here, oh, happiness starts with your soul, S-O-L-E. Now I love that one, but I also want to have it where the soul, S-O-U-L, is walking in the shoes with the S-O-L-E. So the soul in the sole of the shoe. So when we get purpose driven, once we are truly aligned to who we really are, then walking our path and walking in our shoes becomes so much easier. And this is really what the fundamental goal for me is with you guys, is to get clarity. It's not just on a physical material level of what are we doing and why, you know, why are we here on what I call earth ambition, you know, to achieve and do whatever it is that we want to do or we think we're supposed to do, but it's also it's aligned to your soul purpose. It's what is it, the energetic being that resides within this physical vessel that happens to walk in these shoes. If the physical vessel is steering us in one direction and we feel that there's a discord, it makes us unhappy. It manifests in disease. You lose touch with who you really are. You don't know why you're really here. You feel very disconnected. I mean, anybody feel like that or ever had that in their life? Say I mean, I've been there, you know. This is where I was like, there has to be more. There's got to be more to being here, right? And if you're at that point where you're going, how do I get there? You know, what is that? You know, what is it for me? Then you're in the right place, okay? So the other saying that I liked as well was Marilyn Monroe's saying, which, and I'm going to start posting these things, you know, guys, I mean, honestly, it is a matter of time for me, you know, that being able to dedicate the time to put into posting things that are going to really motivate. But I am going to get it. I'm looking to get some help on board now, to even post sayings that are just going to, oh, wow, I just love that. So like Marilyn Monroe, her one was that she said, give a girl the right pair of shoes and she can conquer the world. And I mean, I love that. That is so true. That is so true. I mean, I don't know if she was probably the best lady to use as an example for having conquered the world. She was a little unstable, but I love the saying, and she did conquer the world in the material sense, but she was a classic case of a woman in discord. She was deeply unhappy, and you know, so it wasn't right from that side, but the saying, she was, you know, she got the saying right. It was a good start. If she comes back again, maybe she can actually have the soul, S-O-U-L, walking in the soul shoes, so that she can be on the path, so that she can conquer the world in a way that actually gave her joy. But she, you know, she was amazing. She brought a lot of joy and you know, she was an amazing actress. So she did conquer the material plane very, very well. Okay, and then is there another saying that oh yes, on a shoestring budget, but yes, on a shoestring. I don't know if this was a specific person who actually said that, but it basically means you're on a budget. You know, living on a shoestring. I think that probably goes into the first level category, if I'm honest. And you know, if you you know, one of the other things as well within that first level category, I'm going back a bit here, sorry guys, is like, you know, if I were in your shoes, what would I do? So I often ask that in my psychology stuff as well. It's like, you know, if I were in your shoes, or if you were in my shoes, or if you're in somebody else's shoes, what would the response be? And quite often that can be quite a good healing effect. So trying on different shoes to get different answers when you're in a state of I don't really know how to get out of this situation, I find is really helpful. So those are examples of, and there'll be more fun quotes that I'll find and I'll get them posting. And now and then we're going to move into my Vickyisms, and these ones are, and I have a lot, you know, there's like you know, you got to have certain ones that are just going to, like I spoke about, like, you know, a good pair of funster shoes or clowning about shoes. You know, I think we get so bogged down in the grind of life, and ladies, you will know this, you know, anybody who can get that, oh my gosh, you know, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm like, you know, the busy soccer mum, and that's one of my shoes that I've got, you know, busy two shoes. They're the busy soccer mums, like they're racing from A to B, they're trying to squeeze all sorts of stuff in, and quite often they're so burnt out there's not a hell of a lot left for themselves. So it's that whole, I've got all these different sayings that categorize the types of lifestyles we've developed, our coping strategies, things that have been imposed on us, especially as women, where it's been expected by society for us to look a certain way, be a certain way, behave a certain way in order to be, you know, even attractive, liked, and ideally loved. But the thing is, we create such a false facade that actually it's not who we actually really are. And it's like, how do we get to be who we really are, still looking after the vessel, still presenting, you know, well. I'm not saying let yourselves go, ladies. Please, you know, don't do that. It's a case of being authentic within yourself and being okay with that. So it's getting the soul back in the soul, and, you know, getting us on that path. So a Vickyism would be, you know, my busy bee shoes for the overwhelmed soccer mums. It would be something like, let me have a think about one of the other ones that I like to talk about. Adidas. Okay, so instead of Adidas shoes, it's that I don't give a proverbial shit. Okay, shoes. Now everybody, I think, should have a pair of Adidas shoes, because it's at some point when you put your shoes on and it doesn't fit in with the crowd, you've got to be able to go, do you know what, these are my shoes and I'm okay with that, and if you don't like it, there's the door. So that's an example of the Adidas shoes. And yeah, I've got a few that are, of course, you know, you'd think I'd have a whole list coming right up through, you know, the brain at the moment, but of course I've gone blank. But a lot of these will be coming in through my book. I'm going to break them all down, and then we're going to have a look at actual shoes, like shoes that we do actually wear. What shoes can talk about, you know, tell us about us, and also about others. And I'm going to look at famous people's shoes as well. So, you know, an example would be Hillary Clinton, when she was about to go and do some talk against Trump. When she was running for election, she had specially made red power shoes, very stable, solid. I think they were like patent leather. And bright red, you know, and they were power shoes. They were don't mess with me. They're the solid heels. They were presentable. It was in line with the red, white and blue of the flag. It had a bit of bling on, it had a bit of gold so that it showed her status. And you know, and I'll see if I can find the photos of it, and I'll post that in the Facebook page once group once we get going with that. So hop over and have a look. Now, if you found any of that useful, please say thumbs up, you know, and share, like, subscribe, please. This is a journey. I'm giving you all this information for free. This is just to help you get going. Just take that first step, ladies. I mean, it doesn't have to be hard. This is why we are here. You know, if you want to do it in a community that will go, you know what, let's just take that first step together, honey. We can do it, and we can. And I've helped so many ladies and so many gents as well. It's not just ladies. Get on the right path. You know, let's wear the right shoes, guys. Let's be on the right path, going in the right direction, and being reconnected to who we really are. Let's get back to the basics of why we really came here. So if you found that useful, you know, do like, subscribe. And I'm going to just end with this the places you will go, Dr. Zeus saying, because I just think this is really great. You have a brain in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You are your own, and you know what you know, and you are the guy who will decide where to go. All right, so it won't be just guys, but girls as well. So I hope you love that. I love that. That's my favorite Dr. Zeus book, and I share it with my kids, and I hope you love that too. Anyway, thank you so much. We'll tune in next time for actual shoes. Bye.